morning I'm under my Morris Minor removing the transmission. Got this thing all put back together after years, and I put the engine and transmission together, and the guy that was doing the restoration on the van basically just stuck the engine and transmission in the car, and I came back and did all the mounting and detail work and everything, and I got it started up, and it was pouring oil out of the bell housing. Not pouring, it was a serious leak of oil out of the bell housing, which makes me suspect either the oil pump that's mounted on the back of the engine or the rear main seal, which is a tough area on these engines. The rear main seals were never any good, and this one has a special seal that was designed to resolve some of the issues, and apparently something's gone wrong in there, and the only way to find out is to pull the transmission out and find out what's going on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking a bunch of stuff apart, which is always a joy. I love taking stuff apart after I've put it together. So we'll follow up. The customary method for removing the engine and transmission from the Morris Minor is to take the front bumper and the front grille and radiator off. The front grille and the radiator will come out as a unit, and then that lets you just pull the engine and transmission straight out of the front of the car using a lift. Of course, after you disconnect all the crapola that's holding it in the car. But there's also a method by which you can drop the transmission and engine down in the back and twist the transmission and get it to come out of there. One of the problems is that the rack and pinion steering is right back here behind the engine, behind a casting on the transmission. So that's why you have to rotate the transmission to get that casting clear of the rack and pinion steering. But I've got the transmission pretty much disconnected at this point. Going to drop the rear mount on it. I've got to do some things to the engine. I'm going to drain most of the coolant out of it. I have to take this engine steady loose. Back here, this water valve in the back, the heater valve, is going to be in the way if I don't move it. That should just about do it and let me lower the back of the engine enough. The engine sits on mounts right up here in the front. Well, they're in there, trust me. And those mounts are flexible and will let the engine rotate back a little bit. So that's where we're headed as of this step.